The red pill is true. I didn't want to believe it for the longest time in my life. That, it's hard to acknowledge this. The red pill is true. When I'm talking about the red pill, I'm talking about in relation to masculinity and kind of understanding what's the real reality of what it is to be a man and really what you are to society as a man. And I just want to explain that it's super backwards. It's pretty crazy to me, the whole thing about feminism. We need to understand that this is actually madness. The whole thing about equality and feminism and all that, and why it has actually no relevance in reality, and why it's actually complete madness. I just watched a video kind of trying to argue that, the opposite points, and I've just heard I hear the same argument every time from the liberal side. And I just want that people understand what a man is to society, like, or what we are beings. We're animals. We just need to remember that we are animals. We are not, we are bound by the laws of nature. Whether we want to admit it or not, we are bound by the laws of nature, okay? And what reproduces lives on, and what doesn't reproduce dies and stops existing. So I know this is going to come off as like super offensive to a lot of you liberals, but I don't give a shit. The truth is, I don't care about your fucking equality. I don't give a fuck about equality. I have a role to play that I am not allowed to do. I am not allowed to be a man in society. You know what I mean? It's weird. It's pretty insane. The whole thing, the whole anti-masculinity thing, I've tried to understand it. Throughout my life, I've tried to figure out what it means to be a man. My dad, while I love him to death, didn't really understand what masculinity was. He was brought up with all this liberal shit. It doesn't work. The fact is, guys, this liberal shit, being nice, being kind, kill them with kindness, all that shit doesn't fucking work. People see you as a weak piece of shit if you come off and try to be too fucking nice. Because then women see it through with the niceness and see you as some pervert who wants to get laid. Because guess what? Of course we want to get fucking laid. It's part of being human as a man. Like, if you have a penis and balls, you are literally put on this earth. It is literally one of your purposes is to reproduce. I'm sorry it's fucked up. I'm sorry that offends people, and it shouldn't offend people, because that is what a man is here to do. Women don't get it. It's just the people on the left are so blissfully unaware. See, women have always been moochers. Here's the thing. Women, the reason that they didn't have rights or whatever you want to define as rights or equality for the longest time, and why tradition existed, was because they had a role that they were meant to play. Because men have always had a role. They've been the hunters. They've gone out and killed the deer, brought the food back, built the fucking house, did 90% of all the heavy lifting. Like, men do most heavy lifting. Whenever, like, my family asks me to, like, I wouldn't say I'm the strongest dude in the world. Like, I'm not a fucking ripped dude. Like, I'm a little strong, and I can lift more shit, but I am stronger than my sisters and my father and my mom. I can lift things that they can't lift, and I have no problem doing it. That's not what bothers me. I have no problem being asked to do things, because that is what I am genetically programmed to do. It's one of those things that we are brought on this. There's a reason men like to fix things. There's a reason men like to build things. There's a reason men hunt and kill and fight in wars and die. Because we are genetically put on the earth to reproduce, and we are used for something. We are used, okay? We are mooched off of, regardless of whether we like it or not. We want to face this. This is part of the reality of being a man, is that no matter what we do, women and whatever creature that can't provide for itself is kind of mooching off of us. So my thought on this, and why I'm going to debunk the whole equality shit, is because the reason I don't agree with the whole feminism shit and like the argument, oh, women need to be independent and all this shit, the reason I don't agree with it is because all my rights are taken away by doing that. You understand? All my role as a person on this earth is completely disregarded. Oh, fuck you, we don't need that. Oh, fuck you, you know what I mean? Like, you are, the reason people follow Andrew Tate isn't because he's a misogynist. It isn't because he wants patriarchy. He wants men to fulfill their role. You understand? Men are not being encouraged to fulfill their natural role. They're addicted to substances. They're addicted to, I wouldn't say it's every man. Obviously, society somehow still working, but literally, if imagine if the guy who fixes your power just quit. Imagine if the soldiers in the army just imagine if the firemen stopped doing their job and just were said, "Fuck you, we don't care. We're gonna stop. We don't care. We'll let all the burnings house down." What would you fucking do? How many women are in the fire brigade? Like, let's be honest. The percentage of men in prison. Let's look at the suicide rate. Let's look at the majority of police. They're literally called policemen. I mean, yes, there's some women who do it, but that doesn't mean that we are equal. There just isn't as many women doing roles that are important for society to function. I'm sorry, you're just not as valuable because there isn't as many female engineers who would literally society would collapse if men just gave up tomorrow. That's the thing. Women could not, as a whole, come and just run society if all of this shit collapsed. We understand, like, all this shit, all this liberalism, all this shit would just fucking fall apart if we lost the luxuries that men provide. That is just a fact. That is a fact of life, and I'm just sick of this bullshit. Sick of this. I watched this video made by a guy named Sean. And look, I had respected because he made this really good video about the British monarchy and actually arguing why it's illegitimate, because I actually really hate the British monarchy too. So that's one place we can agree on. But this video about Andrew Tate is completely ignorant and just fails to understand, like, it's just an echo chamber of people who don't really understand what they're talking about. Like, this is so ignorant. And look, and he's talking about the most extreme versions of masculinity. But it doesn't mentions abusive men that are out there. And yes, there are men that are horribly abusive and cruel and terrible. There are men like that. Unfortunately, there are. But there's also women that are cruel and terrible. There's also, like, gay people that are cruel and terrible. I've met them. No offense to you guys. There are gay people and homosexuals, and there are trans people who can be fucking assholes too. Anybody can be an asshole. I don't understand this whole concept. Why are we the ones that are associated with that? It's like literally anybody could be a fucking piece of shit, hater, and hate whatever gender, or be racist. Like, everyone can be racist. Here's the thing. Anybody can be racist towards anybody. So I think simplifying it and just saying, "Oh yeah, we're all, that's what these movements are just about equality." No, they're not. It's not about equality, because equality is a slogan, a made-up term that has little relevance. It doesn't work. It never has worked. We don't live in an equal society. We never will. If you want to live in an equal society, we're going to have communism. We're going to have, like, genocidal, people who literally will do the same shit. But all the same shit keeps happening over and over again. And that's what I'm trying to explain. The history is just repeating itself. This whole idea of equality is absolutely nuts. It doesn't have any relevance in reality. We're not equal. Men and women are not equal. We never will be. We're not supposed to be. We're supposed to have roles. That's the natural way of things. We're supposed to hold up, we're supposed to do, there's things that women are just more genetically linked to do, because women are more, so for instance, women are better at cooking. Let's be honest. Okay, some men could cook, I'm not going to lie. Some men could cook, and maybe they can cook better than women. Maybe there's certain things that men do, and that can be argued all day. I'm not here to argue that. But women, I'm going to be honest with you, are far better at cooking. So yeah, that's a natural attribute. We're not talking about exceptions with men, again. We're talking other things that women can do. Obviously reproduce. That's a natural attribute. Just they are more sexual. They are more, they are more able to do hold those values when it comes to, they are more caring. They are better with children. Of course, those things are, and that's good. There's nothing wrong with those attributes. I think there's like a fucking negative thing about these things, but these are the actual natural attributes of women. What else can they do? What other fucking thing? They can sew. Women are good with music. There's just so many feminine character. I'm just trying to think of feminine characteristics. Compassionate. And they have, flaws like anybody else. Let me bring up a case for patriarchy. The reason I believe that patriarchy is a better thing for society than what we have right now or whatever's, because the thing is, we haven't left the patriarchy. We never will. That's the other thing I want to actually understand. Like there isn't a society that really can work without a patriarchy. I'm sorry, it's just the societies that actually abandon patriarchy, they actually fall apart. They just never work. It just doesn't work. Like we just don't understand that, like, the reason patriarchy has existed for thousands of years, it's kind of a crazy argument these liberals have. They're literally like, this has existed for thousands of years and it's bad. But the thing is, it's existed for thousands of years. These ideas are all very new, and no one is really understand that you have to test ideas. Like these, we have to see if these actually work, and they don't. These ideas have been tried before. All of this shit, all this equality shit has been tried before, and it's never worked. That's what I'm trying to say, is like all these ridiculous ideas are horrible ideas. They all suck and they don't work. So that's why they haven't existed in society. I mean, we literally, we wouldn't have these ideas. But these people keep, every time they keep coming up with this stupid shit. That's literally what history is. Literally, the people, there's a society that works, everything's functioning great, and then you get these crazy people come in every time. You get Hitler, who was a liberal. You can go look up the more shit. There's all these people who say that he was a capitalist. No, he was a fucking socialist. He didn't like Marx. He was kind of like this middle ground, but he was a liberal. He was about as liberal as it fucking gets in terms of the way he actually thought about things. He was an actual liberal. And he murdered millions of people because he murdered Jews because he believed that they believed in the protocols of Zion, and that that it was a capitalist conspiracy. So you can look it up. I know this is a long video, but anyway. Truth is, these ideas are horrible. They don't work, and they never have. And another case I'm going to bring up, okay, the natural attributes of men. We're going to bring up the natural attributes of men. We are stronger. I'm sorry, you're going to have to fucking deal with it. That's just reality. A man who is even a fucking short man like me is way stronger than any female, and if I tried to fight a female, it would be unfair. That's literally why we've had rules set to say you can't hit a female. Okay? Do you think, why would we have a subconscious rule that you can't hit a female if we were equal? Okay? We'd be able to beat the shit out of women all day. No, that's another bullshit. That's the thing. Women want their feminine privileges without understanding that these ideas have consequences. These ideas are horrible. These ridiculous ideas of feminism are really stupid, and they don't actually exist in reality. They just don't. And there's another attribute. We are handy. We are better at fixing things. We are better at like building things. We are better at like coming up with ideas that actually do shit, like change shit. Like that's why the majority of like historical figures that have actually done change, like, have been men. MLK, Martin Luther King is a good example. Every president that we've ever had has been a man. We haven't had a female president because our country doesn't want our country to fall apart. We've had, from what I've seen of female leaders, they are terrible. They have terrible ideas, and they don't actually understand. Because women, the truth is, women just lack self-awareness. That's another advantage men have. We have self-awareness, more self-awareness than women do. We are able to think logically. Women are not. That's just a fact. I've literally heard this from a woman herself. She says, we don't think logically. She literally admits, like, women don't actually think logically about things. Women are emotional creatures, so they don't really understand logical thinking the way men do. That's why men have discovered shit around the universe and women haven't. That's why there isn't, like, there's some things, there's some exceptions. Like I said, there are intelligent women out there. There are logical women out there. I'm not completely dismissing the whole concept of there being, but we are far from equal. And I just want people to understand that we are far from equal in terms of our survival. There is just more things that men can do that, I mean, literally, it's in a Bear Grylls documentary of women saying, oh, I don't need a man. And then all of a sudden, the men build their shit. They figure their shit out. They've already got a fucking tent. They've already got shit to survive. And they go to the women's, they go to the men, and guess what? They go and mooch off the men because that's what women do. Women are moochers. They are literally designed by nature to be moochers because they nurture children. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not here to like hate on you for being a moocher. Look, some people are moochers. Women are literally genetically designed moochers. And the fact is that men want to provide for you and want to be appreciated. Like men, I don't understand how that's a horrible thing. That's the strangest thing about liberalism. The concept that that could be a bad thing. Wanting to provide for a woman, wanting to have kids with a woman, wanting to have a family. That's looked at as some terrible thing. And now we got to care about all the rights of all these other races. We got to be, race, not races, sorry. Not bringing up race. Now we got to like accommodate all these other, sexualities. Now we got to figure out, now there's these people who can't decide even if they're men or, there's these men who have just flat out not even just given up. There are literally, it is so hard to be a man that men have actually given up on being men. Like literally they're going to be like, they literally want to cut their dicks off and become a woman and then go compete in sports so they can beat the shit out of women and prove the shit again. Like it's just every time you watch all this madness unfold as a man and you're like, this is just ridiculous. I want to move to another place where this shit doesn't exist. I want to live in a place where people, I'd rather live in an archaic traditional society where this type of stuff isn't normal because it's not normal. This is weird. It's not been accepted in thousands of cultures. Like literally, if you look at history, this shit would have not been doable because we didn't have the amount of resources. This is a luxury. I just want people to understand that all this shit that we're going through, all this fucking the issues that of today are a luxury, are issues of luxury, little issues compared to what we used to face. And so society's become so spoiled and such a piece of shit thing that we have literally, like society's literally turned on the people who literally carry it. Like literally the people who are holding this shit up by a thread, man. This shit could collapse any day. Like imagine if all these men who just the men who clean the sewers were like, fuck this, I'm not gonna clean this sewer. People don't fucking appreciate me. Fuck them. I quit. What if one day all the electricians stop fucking fixing your wires and putting your internet back and stop building the shit after? What if the whole fucking city got hit by what if a fucking city got hit by a tornado or earthquake or whatever the fuck, and the men said, fuck that, I'm not going to replace. What if the firefighters said, fuck you, I'm not going to fucking fix anything. Fuck that. I'm not going to fix anything. These people don't care. Why would I fucking why would I save them? What if the paramedics, who are mostly men, I mean, there are women who are paramedics. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, women, there's female doctors and all that shit. What if every male in society quit all of these essential jobs? Society and it was just women running society. What would fucking happen? Just answer my question. Think about what I said, and then we can would equality be important then? I want to know. I actually want to hear an argument against that. Anyway, this is No PMO. Let's go.